What animal would you try and find if you had a very good explosive new bullet that you wanted to test?
So we're testing the bullet.
You've got this great new bullet,
right?
And you have to shoot it through the skull of an animal to see if it works.
Of course, that's the only method possible for testing bullets, right?
Yeah. So what? Where are you going? What are you looking for?
I'm looking for a thick-skulled creature.
Big skull, big old bad skull.
Big. I think something like maybe a rhinoceros.
Yes. Yeah, that could make sense.
Yeah.
I think a cow would make sense. And then you'd go to the slaughterhouse where cows get killed anyway. You'd say, "Can I test this bullet on your cow?"
Yeah.
I think that was what I would go for.
All right. Are we leading anywhere with this, or are we just?
Oh, I was just describing to you the plot of the family film Beethoven.
Oh, okay. That's enlightening.
Because Beethoven's this big, fun dog, and the dad doesn't like Beethoven, and he gets up to some hijinks.
Right.
There is at one point where Beethoven gets into the bed with the dad.
Okay, that's fun. Cute little prank.
Dad says, "Who's been a bad girl?" Because Dad doesn't know it was Beethoven because his wife.
He thought it was his daughter.
No. That's not okay. Okay. He was punishing her for not doing homework. Okay, yeah.
Yes, obviously. Come on.
And yeah, there's a bad evil vet, and he wants to test bullet on Big Skull.
Right.
And so he gets this Saint Bernard, and that's the plot of the film. Shoot this dog in the head.
Is that actually the plot?
That's the plot of the film. Now, roll music.
That's intense. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome
to
episode
18
of Cine
to
Win It. That was really hard. I was trying to work out what.
And continue with the sentence that goes after that.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. The film show where
2
friends fight films.
4
fun.
I did not think you were going to remember there was a 4.
No, I didn't think I was going to remember the 4. It just rolls off the tongue. No, but that is so much harder than I thought it was going to be.
We're going to get better and better and better.
We'll get there. I got so used to just bashing it out, and now I'm just have to fetter myself. I'm not allowed to just go for it.
Tonight, the big fight. It's going to be 2 films that have been put off for a long period of time. It's New Mutants versus Mulan.
Yes.
Interestingly, New Mutants was decided to be a cinema release, and I'm very surprised that Mulan went for.
Same.
Well, I'm kind of angry about how they decided to release Mulan, because put it on Disney Plus, you'd get more subscribers, you'd get a big hit. Put it on Disney Plus and then behind a paywall.
Yeah. So what is it? Do you have to pay the $5.99 for Disney Plus and then the $19.99, or can you just pay the $19.99?
No, you have to be paying £5 already.
What the hell?
The 50 quid for a year, whatever, and then you have to top it up 20 quid to see Mulan.
Obviously, we know this because this is what I did to watch Mulan.
Yeah. We would never pirate anything.
No.
So we're going to be fighting those films, and then also we will be reading a magazine and watching every single film in that magazine. Progress.
Get your cover out. Because now we have video. We can show you the 2 different covers. These are the 2 magazines. They're the same issue, but different covers. Also, we have video. We've been alluding to it for weeks. We're actually doing it, which is exciting.
we might not be, because this has happened before. Well, we thought we had video.
Yeah, but I'm recording it this time, so it's probably going to go a little bit better.
But if you aren't watching the video, you'll still have the same great experience. Currently, you can see 2.
You'll probably have a better experience, to be honest.
Yeah, it's 2 generic-looking men, both in white rooms. One has got a nice shelf with some awards on it.
And they're not awards; they're just games.
It looks like awards, top right,
that. That's a bottle that I water my plant with.
Some would say that's the best award. And my room is very plain because I've just moved in. Let's stop.
You have moved in. No, I want to. Let's talk about your room. Let's talk about your new place.
A big fan.
You a big fan?
Yeah, I've got
happy to have your own space back.
Yeah,
living your best life.
Absolutely loved Mum being a guest on last episode.
Yeah.
Gonna miss that. We've New House is a pretty big film house, it turns out. We've been watching sort of a film each night.
Nice.
Fuck!
I'm gonna have to really play catch up then if you're gonna
just move in
every night. Or just move in. Yeah.
Okay, I think we should get to the fight and not babble too long.
Okay, let's get to the fight then. So we are doing in round 1. In what corner do you want to be this week, babe?
I want to find out what film I'm representing, and then I'll tell you my colour. Okay,
right. I will pull out my phone and get the name generator because I just prepared that.
Take your time. The audience, they've got nothing else to do.
Keep them busy. You're an entertainer.
That we would have prepared this.
You're an entertainer. This is what you do. You just keep. This
is me entertaining. I kind of like overly explain how it's not very fun, this moment, and then they go, "Oh, is this part of the experience? Is this actually fun?" The fact that he's telling me that this isn't very good. It's kind of a meta experience.
Wow.
Joins mediocrity with intellect, but without the intellect, so that you're just left with mediocrity, but you kind of feel like it's better than what it was.
Yeah. Okay, I love it. Let me please type this list.
Wow, and I really went for a long, meaningless babble, and you're still not ready.
I'm still not ready because you were distracting me with your babble, and I've just pulled up the website.
The whole point of the babble was to cover up that you're doing things.
But you were distracting me.
Tell me more about your mediocrity.
No, I was interested in your babble, which is a good.
You're not meant to be interested in the babble's nothing.
I was probably the only one interested in it. Right, what are the films? I've got the list. What are the films?
Mulan, New Mutants.
Also, I've been brought up before that apparently we always argue within the first 5 minutes of the podcast, so we're on good track for this episode.
Yeah, I keep on saying that I don't like the fact that the podcast is about us arguing 2 films because we're such good friends and we never argue. But in 2 minutes every time, I'm like, I hate you, I cannot stand you, why are you here?
Well, it's because you put pressure on me to pull up the list of names.
Right. The list beforehand, you piece of vermin.
So it's New Mutants versus Mulan. Okay, got it. Right. Are we? I'm generating. Do you want the first name or the second name?
I would like you to have the first name.
You'd like me to have the first name? Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Here we go. Bum bum bum. I have Mulan. You can't really see it, but I have Mulan, and you have New Mutants.
Okay, I'm not going to confirm or deny whether that's completely what I wanted.
Neither am I, because it would ruin the effect. Right. So, could you hear that?
Yeah.
The bell is back.
Ooh.
Who's going first? Right. I'm going to go for red corner because
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, she wears red a lot, and they all wear red in the army. Yeah, let's go for that. In the red corner, I will be fighting Mulan. Finn, who are you fighting? What corner?
In the purple corner, color of a bold new character in this film, I will be fighting for New Mutants.
Oh, fun! Do you want to go first, or shall I go first?
I think you should go first.
Okay, so Mulan is the live-action remake of the, I think it's 1998 original cartoon movie Mulan with the same name. A Disney film. Basically, they're on track at the moment to basically just reboot all of these at this point, right? Mulan is the latest one in the trend. It's got a kind of a weird release because it was put off for ages and ages and ages. It's going to be in the cinema, and it wasn't, and now it's a Disney Plus release that we mentioned earlier. But it's basically an adventure film that follows the story of, I can't remember her first name, but Mulan, basically. And her father is sent off to the army to fight, but he's a really, really old war vet, so it's a death sentence if he goes to fight in the army. So she goes, fuck this noise, I'm out of here, I'm going to fight for you. And she pretends to be a guy so she can join the army. And it's basically just a story of her defending her country, and the army and the soldiers realizing it doesn't matter if you're a woman or not, you're just as good a soldier as all of us, if not better. And it's about her experience in the army with the other guys, trying to find out who she is, trying to protect her country and prove that it doesn't matter, I'm a woman, I can still fight. And it's just a fun movie. It does a good job of it does some really fun action sequences. It does a really good job of the bright and colourful nature of the original movie. There's loads of bold colours. There's some fun scenes in there. It still has a quirky sense of humour that the original has. It doesn't have the songs, which I think is the biggest sort of negative of the film, because I feel like the songs in the original cartoon is what makes the cartoon so fun and so different. And there are some bangers in there, like what's the song? Let's get down to business.
To defeat
the Huns. What a tune.
Did they send us? Oh, are we stopping?
Oh no, we were going to do a line each.
Daughters.
When I asked. Oh, the sons. We should rehearse this.
You're the saddest bunch I've ever met.
That I haven't got a clue.
Mr. I'll make a man out of you.
Dum, dum, dum. That's a tune, that. But it's not in this one, so sorry. There's a kind of line in it where he just goes, I will make men out of all of you. And I was like, I know so badly, you just want to sing. Just sing, please.
Just let him do it. Give him I think what I would have done is have a button where you press musical version or like realistic, period piece version. It's not realistic. There is a phoenix in this film. But
is there a phoenix in the old one? Or is it is a phoenix replacing the little dragon that she had?
Yeah, the Phoenix clearly should have been voiced by Eddie Murphy.
The Phoenix just didn't have a voice, though, so...
The Phoenix didn't do anything. The Phoenix kind of just flew about every so often and meant something.
I think what they've tried to do with this is, I mean, for better or worse, they've not really stuck to the original Mulan storyline either, from what I can tell. And it is just kind of its own thing, and I feel like they have used the Mulan name to try and get people to watch this and bring them in, whereas actually, it's got elements of the original, so it's obviously... a woman joining the army is quite unprecedented back then, obviously. So it's got that element there, and that's a main narrative thread throughout the movie. But they sort of go off on tangents and sidetracks that they don't do in the original film. There's
a character called Cricket that kind of represents the cricket she had on her shoulder. Like, they do touch on things like that.
Yeah.
I think that some of the changes they made were probably to correct how westernized our version of Mulan was. Like, right. I think making Disney's version, like, adding dragons, adding things like that, it's not what maybe China would want to see now. It's maybe not accurate to what should have been done.
Yeah.
And so obviously China is a really big box office force. So I think they've made it better for them to really enjoy that film. And I think they've taken more elements from Chinese folklore, like adding qi.
I like that,
Phoenix.
And it also helps to explain some of the more, not necessarily supernatural, but the more magical elements of the qi kind of thing.
I wasn't sure about qi.
Mm-hmm.
I think her kind of ability, seeming so magical, took away from the fact that she was a brilliant warrior, was skill and ingenuity.
I think she had that as well.
I just didn't see it. It's like the animated scene where she, like, in the montage in the Mr. I'll Make a Man Out of You, where they all have to climb up a long pillar with the weights. And she uses the weights to support herself and climb up. Shows, like, brilliance. But then in this film, there's a bit where you have to carry heavy things really high up a mountain, and she just goes, what if this time I do it?
Yeah, what if this time I use magic to be able to carry them up? But I guess so, but there are also times in the movie where she does show ingenuity, she does show creativity.
Yeah, the battle scene.
The battle scene when, we won't spoil it all, but she basically navigates this battle scene to basically wipe out this huge army in one, which is pretty clever.
That was a big miss, though.
Why?
That was a big miss by the... So she sets up where she is, and they aim it at her, but miss so hugely that they set up their own destruction. Yeah. I don't think that her plan, like, she should have been where it hit. No?
Yeah, maybe. Also, did you notice, I feel like maybe I watched something, but I feel like they recorded one scene of loading the cannonball into the catapult and then just used that scene over and over again. I was like, they literally just did this exact scene.
Or they're incredibly disciplined in how they load cannonballs.
Maybe, yeah.
Trebuchets,
sorry. They're not Huns in this film, are they? Because they are in the original Mulan. I think they're a different kind of war. They're different group of warriors in this.
Maybe that's more accurate, or maybe Huns got upset.
Maybe. There's also witchcraft elements in this, which I think were in the original film. I need to rewatch that.
Don't think they were. That character wasn't there.
That character definitely wasn't there. But
the big baddie had a bird, and so they've expanded on that.
Yes. Yeah. No, they did. Yeah.
But
I think it was all right. I feel like it was.
I didn't like that arc.
Which one? Which one?
She changed the which one.
She changed the which one. She changed her course. She changed her track so quickly, just on a whim, and it was like nothing she did in the film led up to the decision she made at the end of it, which is kind of jarring.
There was moments of her being treated badly, but I just didn't. Right. It didn't quite work for me.
Not 100%. I don't think this film entirely worked for me. I mean, I know I'm fighting for it, so I'm going to stay with it. But
you haven't talked about what I would say is the best thing about this film, which is the kind of floaty fighting style that happens quite a lot. The kind of slightly inspired by Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I think it's called theatrical wushu. I'm not sure if but like I think using that in this film was really fun.
Some of the fight scenes were actually really good. I think they were pretty fun. They were pretty well directed. Like, it was pretty easy to keep track of everything that was going on and the scale of it as well. Like, they had in some of the training sequences, they had loads of different army men on screen at once. Army men, but recruits on screen at once, and it looks really good. It's a visually really quite a pretty film. Like, the color's really nice. The costume design's fantastic. I think they're all sort of so varied at times because I think they produce so many soldier outfits. They do something a little bit plasticky if you get too close. But on the whole, I think they were really good. And some of the makeup as well. Like, there's the scene really really early on that they have makeup quite obviously over the top, and it's meant to be, but it is done really well. And there are characters involved in that scene as well that have really good makeup. But yeah, I think there's a lot of love and passion put into this film, but I don't necessarily know if there was 100% the filmmaking skill behind it that it should have been. It seemed quite, at times, jarring and disconnected in terms of just how the story flowed and how quick and sharp the cuts were to different scenes.
It felt like some scenes were rushed and some scenes weren't needed.
100%. I think the scene where, for example, a perfect example of where it's rushed and where it is sort of short. Initially, when Mulan is going to join the army, she spends so long. We see her on this massive long journey going through loads of different locations, which looks pretty, but it takes about 5 minutes for her to get there. And on the way home, it's literally just a cut and she's home. And it's like, why expand so much background if you're not going to use it later on in the movie? And also at the end, why rush home if you're going to expand it all at the start? It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, it's quite disconnected in terms of what it's trying to do with its storytelling as well. Obviously, some scenes are really rushed, and then some scenes are really quite short. But to be honest, it's a fun movie. It's kind of just like a Disney film, and I think it was catered a lot more to families and younger generations who kind of just want to put something on in the background. It's Mulan, you know the story. Let's just switch off to it and distract the kids for a couple of hours. I don't think it's designed to be looked into as analytically as we do, but
I do think the feminism of this thing felt really forced. It's a feminist story, but every time they said things about how awful women were or whatever, it just felt.
I didn't really think they bothered. I didn't think they tried really with the feminism at all. It was kind of it was kind of a missed opportunity in a way, because it seems like a perfect sort of note to pick on, especially in sort of our current landscape, is the feminism and trying to really kind of what Captain Marvel was trying to do.
Definitely there. It was that's the plot of the film.
Yeah, it was, but they didn't really go hard on it. It was it was there, and we will do as little as possible with it. They didn't really try and do anything that innovative or creative. I don't think it was just kind of the run of the mill, exactly what Mulan was in '98, which doesn't really show any progression in the past 20 odd years. But yeah, it was all right. I think the acting was all right. To be fair, there were a couple. It's corny, it's over the top acting, but it's kind of done in the Disney style. So I think that was kind of the point. Also, she's 33. That blew my mind. Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah. Really good performance.
Yeah, she was good.
All of them were very good. I liked the performer who played the subtle love interest and how that wasn't overly done.
Yeah.
That's a change from the leader of the trainer being the love interest.
Yeah, I thought at one point it was going to happen. I was like, okay, this is weird, but it was.
I think that's maybe better because also it's not power dynamics that are a little bit toxic, but also it puts them on a different level, which is a fun change.
I feel like touching on the other characters as well. I wish they were kind of expanded a little bit more because there was a really large cast of supporting characters and we didn't really get to know much about any of them. It was like one or two like lines of dialogue for each one of them.
It felt like they knew that there were supporting characters in the animated film, so they wanted to put them there. But because they didn't have musical sequences where they did their things, or because they didn't care about those characters, they decided not to do anything with them. Yeah. Cricket was the only one I ended up caring for when he did like his bow and arrow moment. I was like, yes,
that was so badass. We like went behind him, like, yeah,
Cricket,
that was cool.
All the way. But I do have a bias towards people who use a bow and arrow.
Yeah, Legolas all over that.
Hawkeye, Katniss Everdeen.
Is that it? Cricket, Hawkeye, Katniss Everdeen, and Legolas. That's your.
Green Arrow, weirdly, is one I'm not obsessed with.
That's your task force.
Green Arrow can leave.
He has got a shit TV show, so that's probably why.
Yeah, he knows what he did. Are you ready for?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Corner?
I'm ready for the new corner. Okay, I'm doing a ding 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 on the Mulan.
Purple corner.
Purple corner, because of the dragon.
Yes.
Okay.
New Mutants was a film.
It was.
Good
start.
Okay, well, I'll get to why our corners are the colours they are later.
Right.
It was a film that was supposedly going to come out in about 2017. It has been pushed for a long amount of time. Supposedly it was going to be reshoots because they weren't sure how horror it was going to be or how Breakfast Clubby it was going to be.
I'm still not sure they're sure.
Well, yeah. Apparently they ended up not doing the reshoot. So this was the film that they
didn't?
No.
Okay.
Because there was also the issue of like when it was sort of about to come out, Fox was bought by Disney, so should it be released? Should it not? Is it a holdover of a different era?
Right.
It's what the film is a group of mutants who have discovered their powers, and they're very new to their powers, and because of their newness to their powers are very dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
So a thing has been set up in order to contain these mutants, to educate them about their powers, to protect them and protect people on the outside. And perhaps there are mysteries afoot about this place.
Perhaps.
This film has sort of been on the lines between horror and teen movie. I think it would have worked better if it embraced the fact that it was a teen movie more.
I think it just needed to embrace one of them. I think if it just went for a clear goal, it would have been a lot stronger, but it kind of flip-flops between the two and it didn't do either that successfully.
I think people are saying mean things about this film. And
they are.
I want to open up here. I really liked it. I really like New Mutants. I really enjoy these characters.
Yeah.
I think it's a really strong cast, a strong comic book to base something off. You've got 5 really good, interesting characters to sort of develop and look into. It's the first LGBT plus representation in a comic book superhero film.
Mm-hmm.
It's a more female cast, which I don't think we've also seen it. Well, apart from
no, it was really good.
Apart from Wonder Woman or Captain Marvel.
Yeah,
actually, no, like Wonder Woman isn't a more female cast.
But I feel like and with Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel, they kind of deliberately try and make a point of, look at us, we're doing a female cast, we're so woke. Whereas this is just kind of like they do it and they don't make a big deal out of it, which is how it should be. It's like they're cool people, cool powers, and they just happen to be women. Like,
I am commenting on its wokeness, and so I think I should make the point that there is an issue with its wokeness in this film. The character of Sunspot, or Roberto da Costa, was whitewashed. He was played by a Brazilian man. However, the character should be Afro-Brazilian. And like that's a big part of the character, is that like he first burnt someone in the comics because he was experiencing racism because the character called him like a half-breed. Right. And so I think losing that for seemingly no reason is disappointing.
Yeah, they he just kind of like in this one, his motivation was, I mean, is it a spoiler to say? Like,
yeah, I think he's
okay. It was definitely, it was not as strong as, it was not as like narratively strong as what you just described. Let's just put it that way.
And kind of the sort of thing that I feel like has been done elsewhere, and I've seen a lot in comics anyway. Mm-hmm. Touching on his motivation, I think the most interesting thing to me is that all of these characters kind of are being brought together here based on their traumas. And their powers are either a metaphor for their traumas or a cause of their traumas. And also the film looks into their psyches because of plot devices.
Have you done like just a brief sort of overall like broad view of what the film actually is? Because I know you've talked about it being horror or teen. Just want to give it like a rundown.
Okay. Characters discover their powers, are put in a building to look after them, protect the world. Scary stuff starts happening, and we don't know why.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, is that I kind of set up the setting, but I don't know if I said plot. I don't want to spoil the plot.
No,
because I knew it from comic book knowledge, but I think I was surprised by how long you didn't realize it. So,
oh wow, you're surprised at how dumb I was and didn't get
Well, I've seen other reviewers go, it was really annoying that they said it like it was a big thing, and it was really quite obvious.
Well, at the start, I knew that it wasn't a tornado, and then thanks.
Did you find it weird that they had talked about bears twice in about 30 seconds?
No, it was like the bears was like the first thing they mentioned in the entire movie, and I was like,
and then they hold up like a little bear totem, and there's two different bear metaphors.
Well, early on, I feel like I gathered, I feel like I sussed her power, and I kind of did, which is what I described to you sort of later on in the movie, but not to the full extent that it was explored in like the film towards the end. But yeah, I kind of got there.
Can I talk about the biggest laugh I was given in the film, and it was because of you?
Yeah, go for it.
So there's a character that's branded, which is really horrible, and they're branded by a W, so they've got a W on. This is Maisie Williams' Ran character, so they've got a W on their back, and then they're branded again. Kind of a spoiler, but I don't think it's the biggest deal. Yeah. And it's kind of done upside down, so it's an M, and you just went, you just leant over and said, "It's because she's Maisie Williams." And that was incredibly funny to me.
Can't unsee
it. I think all of the characters are actually well portrayed and interesting. Yeah. I really, really wish we would see a sequel to this film. I don't think we will.
I don't think it's happening.
I think a sequel that maybe takes on a different... Because Josh Boone was talking about the sequel being sort of horror, but about space. Because X-Men have big connections to space.
They also like allude to the X-Men a couple of times in this movie, which is kind of like exciting because you're like, oh, this is where they're going to go with the film like later on in the franchise. But obviously, knowing what's going on with Disney and Fox, that's probably never going to happen.
They also set up and reference a really big villain based on who's controlling things. I won't go into that, but like that would have been interesting and where the franchise could continue onwards to.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the fact that my film, this is my argument, my film that in the purple corner has a dragon, which is purple.
Is that the reason?
And your film in the red corner does not have a dragon, which should be red.
It does not, no.
Therefore...
It has a phoenix that is red and orange.
Mine has a woman with a sword.
Yeah, mine has a woman with a sword.
Oh shit, it really does. Oh my god, these films are so perfectly matched.
They are so similar, except so different. It's all about like a team coming together to fight an evil force.
Sacha Baron Cohen was meant to be in this film.
Can I guess which character he's meant to play?
No. He was meant to play a character that did not feature in this film.
Oh, I was going to guess like Cannonball or something.
Well, that'd be wild. Just like one old dude.
Yeah. Just, he's never gone out like, oh, I'm shit at this. I'm still keep failing the test.
No, there's a CG character that's much beloved in the New Mutants franchise, and they ended up not doing it just because of the amount of CG they were already using.
Okay.
And I think some of the CG moments in this film were perhaps the weakest parts.
Yeah, the big CG... it's not a spoiler because literally every single comic book film has it. Like, the whole of the third act is basically a big CG bonanza. And
I think they should have done something more psychologically based, because the moments that I was like, oh god, this is really interesting, is when I realized what something meant and the deeper implications.
I did not get that until after the movie, so I'm dumb. But yeah.
The fears of the Russian girl.
Yeah, it was really good.
She's the only one who kind of says her comic book name in a clear way, where she says Magic at one point. That's her comic book name.
Right.
So I'll call her Magic. I can't remember. I think it's Ilyana Rasputin, possibly.
She was cool.
Her last name can't be Rasputin.
Anya Taylor-Joy is just so cool.
Yeah,
Joy Taylor, whatever she's called. But yeah,
was she in
Emma and Split and
was she the main girl from Split?
Yeah, Split and the sequel to it.
Oh, was she in Glass? Okay, I need to watch Glass at some point. I really like New Mutants. I really would like people to support it. I really think it's really good. Do you want to argue on behalf of Mulan?
I kind of just want to like a counterpoint a little bit, because I feel like this film does what quite a lot of first films in a franchise do, which is just assume they're going to get a sequel, and it brings up a lot of these points and a lot of these story plots that clearly aren't going to go anywhere. And it's sort of like it is a setup film in a way, and it's cool. I
don't think that's true.
But you literally, the end of it is like, that is the team. They're there. They're ready to go. They walk out and they're like, right, we're doing this sequel time. And it just, it's not going to happen. And they set up a load of different points.
You get the story of that place. You get
this idea. I'm not denying that. I love that. But just, there are points like that do not go anywhere. Like we get brief glimpses inside of what's she called? Moondance? What's the character's called? It's Moonshine or something like that.
Moonstar,
that's it. We get like glimpses inside of her head when she's going through this kind of like torture process of places that you think they're going to go and they don't go there. And I guess they were saving this for the sequel. And there are kind of like 2 or 3 points in the movie where that happens, and it's like, I just kind of wanted a little bit more from this, but it just didn't go there. But I'm still, to be fair, I still really enjoyed the movie, and I don't know why it's getting the heat it's getting.
There are a lot of comic book films that ended up getting sequels that I think this is significantly better than.
Yeah.
I it's better than Fantastic Four. It's better than the first 4 films. It's better than the first Captain America film. It's better than...
Yeah, but I guess because it's not part of MCU, right? That they knew with Thor and Captain America they were going places and building stuff, but Fantastic Four was probably before the whole MCU, so like, oh, let's just make a sequel to it. It's like the only comic book film we have out.
I want to say something here. It's better. Mm-hmm. It's better than Deadpool. Is that
it's a very different film. No, I don't know if I agree or disagree. It's a very different.
I was thinking it was like something in the X-Men universe that it was better than that. Because I don't think it's better than the first 2 X-Men films because they're brilliant. I don't think it's worth...
As in First Class or X-Men original?
X-Men 1, X-Men 2. It's not even worth me saying it's better than The Last Stand because that's a given. But yeah, I think it's better than Deadpool, but I'm not as in love with Deadpool as other people.
I know it's a hard one to really pin down because Deadpool is a completely different, not caliber, but it's a completely different type of film. Like it's going for a completely different thing. Whereas I feel like Deadpool was so fresh. This is kind of in the realm of the oversaturated comic book films. We have a lot of films in this nature.
Teeny superhero yet. We haven't had horror superhero. Well, Fantastic Four, Fan 4 Stick was meant to be that. But
that's why I wanted it to commit a little bit more to either one of the teeny or the horror-y thing, and it just...
Well, Spider-Man was kind of teeny.
Yeah, I guess.
Homecoming.
I feel like maybe it's receiving the heat because it's just come off of like Endgame and like the whole MCU wrapping up, and people are not necessarily done with comic book films, but because obviously they're not, people are like really hungry for more, but because we've had so many really high caliber comic book films with this massive budget, this kind of indie almost horror sort of kind of superhero film comes out and people don't really know how to like deal with it. But I mean, I'm going to give you this round because I really liked it way more than Mulan.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not going to bother trying to argue it because I really was not that keen on Mulan. I think it was just using the name to try and sell views or tickets. But yeah, we can wrap that one.
Well, that should have been at the beginning, no?
Also, I didn't hear a click. It just kind of your audio cut out as you did that. There you go. Yeah, you got it. Right, so I'm going to let you take that round with New Mutants is better than Mulan. Go and watch it. Please actually just go to cinema if you are cool with cinemering. And you've seen Tenet, because you should probably see that first. Go see New Mutants because it is really good. Yeah.
Do the music.
Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, ba-dum. I was actually going to start singing a different one there, but I sort of changed my course.
We're burning through some of the big ones pretty early.
Bum, ba-dum, bum, ba-dum, ba-da-ba. Empire Strikes Back, episode 3 of Empire Strikes Back, the 3rd edition.
Yeah, so far we've done on page 3. We did Reign of Fire.
4 then, because we've done Glengarry as well.
So that's 2. No, this would be 3.
No, we done. Yeah.
Okay, so this is our fourth edition.
Yes.
We are currently on page
I wonder if by the time we finish this segment, Nick DeSemmelin will still be acting director of Empire magazine. He'll probably be dead.
There's a very good chance that all magazines will be cancelled by that point.
Yeah,
print is dead.
Print will be dead. We'll just be cyborgs. So what page are we on? Like 11?
10.
Really? We've got through 10 pages and only done 4 films.
There's been a lot of pages that are like setting up like we have to watch June at some point, and also
for June.
We didn't do the contents page because that's just spoiling pages we'll later get to.
This is what we did. We watched a film with her in it.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to fuck the order up. Never, sometimes, always, rarely. No.
Never, rarely, sometimes, always.
Never, rarely, sometimes, always.
Good title, and that scene was brilliant.
Yeah. So, do you want to give me the rundown of Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always?
Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always is a film about a teenager who gets pregnant and has to get an abortion.
Correct.
That's the film. It's not something I've watched before. It's not a story I've seen told before. And so lots of moments in it were like quite hard hitting and quite, it was a painful kind of movie to watch.
Yeah.
There's not a lot else to it.
No, I think the Empire segments is kind of like a breath of fresh air because I'm not trying to fight for this film. I'm not trying to tear it down. I just want to give my opinion. And I think after coming off the back of what was Eliza Hittman's previous film?
So that was It Felt Like Love, which was her first film, and this
It Felt Like Love.
It's her more recent film.
This is her third, right? So we've not watched her middle one.
It wasn't mentioned on this piece of paper, so we don't have to.
That's fine, good. Not that she's a bad filmmaker, because I think what I've realised after these 2 films is what she does really well is just lets the character and the story breathe, and she just gives it this space which you don't see in many other films. So, like, the story of an abortion seems like would be quite a sort of standard, boring thing, and she doesn't shy away from that. She embraces kind of the mundane boredom of not necessarily everyday life, but trials and tribulations that characters go through. So in It Felt Like Love, it's about growing up too fast, as you mentioned last week. In this one, it's about an unwanted pregnancy and just her trying to get an abortion. And they just let this character just like live out her 2 days basically, in quite kind of just a dreamy sort of sense. You just sort of flow and meander through the film with this character, and it doesn't necessarily go anywhere. It doesn't necessarily try and do anything, but because it doesn't, I think it's all the more real for it.
It's like, here's a bit of life that is happening every day and you're not seeing it. And I don't think it could easily have gone, let's have a really big fight with an anti-abortion person outside the hospital. It could really easily have had huge bits of drama where the parents turn up and there's huge moments. The moments of like big things happening are just like little hands being held. There's the conversations. The moment in the office of the supermarket like really worked for me. It's really like bits that just feel super real. It's
so in that it's just such a raw and real film, and like I think when I spoke to you yesterday about it, I've had a little bit more time to think on it, and I think I do prefer this to It Felt Like Love, to be fair, because although the story, like the subject matter, doesn't really relate to me as much as It Felt Like Love did, because I feel like not that in that way, but like the people that have been in that kind of situation, and I've don't really know anyone who's been through this, like or maybe I do, but it's kind of the side of life that you don't talk about. It's quite personal, but it just really focuses on one key element, and it just goes with it, and you just kind of live in the world with these characters for an hour and a half, and like it's just really real. And the way it's shot and the way it's very close up, like really close up to the faces of these characters, it's kind of like a dreamlike state, which I kind of feel like you sometimes go to in scenarios where you don't want it to be happening to you. You kind of, your brain reverts to like, oh my God, this is a dream, this isn't happening. And you don't have to cope with it. And I feel like the filmmaking kind of reflected that a little bit. I just think it was really good, really well acted. This is her first on-screen like performance from, I'm going to find her name out because it was really good. But this is the first feature film she's done, so props to her.
I think in future I will be looking out for Eliza Hittman's work and trying to make sure I watch it. I imagine it's not the sort of thing that gets much cinema time, which is a shame. But
no, they are indie films, aren't they? I can't find her name. That's It's going to be in here somewhere. Oh my god. Dun, dun, dun. I can't find it, unfortunately. But no, really good film. It is slow, and I feel like if you go into it expecting like action all the time and like all these different sort of fights and arguments and the kind of generic cinema things you would maybe expect to go along, like you mentioned earlier, with this kind of subject matter, you're going to be disappointed. But if you just go in expecting a very slow film, a very like methodical film that just lets the characters live in the world, then I think you'll be sort of pleasantly surprised. This isn't my sort of thought and opinion, but I've read a review of this film now, and I just wanted to bring it up because it's quite interesting. Someone pointed out the fact that every single guy in this film is an arsehole, and like it's not necessarily good or bad. It's just how the film is. But it's quite an interesting point because I didn't think about that. But literally, no guy in the film is nice to these characters, which is, you think, a little bit unrealistic. There must be someone in their life that's nice to them. But like I was thinking about it, I was like, yeah, actually that's true. I can't think of a single guy who's not an arsehole to them.
And I'm not saying that's how all men are and the world is, but sometimes that's how the world can feel. And I think especially to these characters, I think it makes sense that's there. Yeah. And none of these men are, I don't think that they were the most awful. It wasn't like,
no, it
didn't get evil.
No, they didn't get evil. It's just clear. They would. Actually, one was.
Some of the stuff at the beginning was pretty vile.
Yeah. But no one was like looking out for them or on their side, really. But
a representation of how the world can feel.
Yeah, and I guess it adds to sort of dream-like sort of state they're in, where they're like trying to like pretend what's happening to them isn't real. But yeah, it was a cool film. It's definitely worth checking out if you're into those kind of little indie films.
A slow burner.
Yeah, a slow burner. It's not too long. It's like an hour and a half. So, yeah, you should be good. But no, I'd recommend it. I think compared to our other Empire movies, my list at the moment is Gary. Then it's probably this one. Then It Felt Like Love. Then it's Rain of Fire. What do you reckon?
I think I could switch this film and It Felt Like Love round.
Okay.
I'm happy with your current listing. I think that's fine.
Okay, I need to add it to Letterboxd, which I've been saying every week. But that is episode 4 of Empire Strikes Back. Are we picking the next film now? Or are we?
Yes. Well, in fact,
okay.
Next film will be Max Richter's Sleep, because it's mentioned on page 11. It's a short write-up about Max Richter's Sleep that will be scheduled to be in cinemas this summer.
Okay. It's not already out? Are we able to watch this?
Not available on any streaming service. It's not available online.
Okay.
There is one showing of it in the View Cinema on Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Is there?
Would you like to come and see Max Richter's Sleep with me in the cinema?
Yes.
As it should be seen.
Absolutely.
Okay, now secondly, and if anyone listening to this wants to come along, you are allowed, just don't sit near us because we are famous podcast makers.
Yeah.
But do come along if you hear this in time.
Please come along.
Separately, this is about a piece of music. It's a documentary about a piece of music that Max Richter composed.
Okay.
That is to be played while you go to sleep for 8 hours.
Are we going to fall asleep in it?
No. This is a 2-hour film about this.
Okay.
But like they play it for people to go to sleep. Like here's a picture of an audience listening to it in beds.
Oh, that's cool.
So I'm thinking that we watch the film, but I'm also thinking that we go to sleep, we go to bed, and we put this
listen
on
to this music,
and we see how it goes for us.
Okay.
Would you like to do that before the film or after the film?
After.
After? Okay.
Yeah.
Or should one of us do it before and one of us do it after?
Yeah, go on then. Let's do that.
Okay. I'll go to sleep tonight or tomorrow with Max Richter's
That
Sleep.
sounds interesting. This is cool. I love this segment. Very random, interesting films. On the topic of documentaries, I've been recommended one which I haven't seen yet, so I can't say if it's good or bad.
Then why are you talking about it?
But because I do want to watch it, and talking about it here will make me watch it, is Action Park. Have you heard of that? The HBO one?
So, didn't Johnny Knoxville make a film about Action Park?
I don't know. But
is it about this really awful, dangerous theme park?
Yeah. There's an HBO documentary about it, and it sounds quite interesting. But,
starring Johnny Knoxville.
Starring Johnny Knoxville, obviously. On the topic of Jackass, which we watched this week. Okay, more films. Let's do it. What else have you seen?
This week, I will quickly talk about, because it's an old film, so probably not that relevant. The Damned United, starring Michael Sheen and other great actors, great English actors. I'll get
other great actors are available.
It's about a manager of a football club, and it's about toxic masculinity. It's about rivalry, and it's about friendship. It's really good. I don't care about football. I didn't know this story. Really enjoyed it. Really would recommend it. The script's very tight. The performances are brilliant. There are lots of lines that got pretty big laughs out of me, and it's not really a comedy. It's kind of a drama. But they're very charismatic people, and it's an interesting story.
What's it called?
The Damned United.
Okay, is it an older film?
I'm going to say mid 2000s, but I'm googling it right now. It's 2009, so not mid at all.
Okay.
We've got your Michael Sheen. We've got Timothy Spall. We've got Jim Broadbent. We've got Cole Meany.
These people I've heard of.
Who is a bit of a meanie in this film.
It lives up to the name then.
Probably a nice guy in real life. He has a good smile in this picture. There he is. There's Cole Meany.
Oh, he looks nice. He looks a bit like small. Oh, I know who he is. He's Peter Pettigrew.
Yeah, he's the rat.
Yeah.
Other rat actors are available.
Other rat actors are available. Okay, that sounds interesting. Worth giving it a go?
Yeah, but quite a big recommend from me.
Oh, hot take. Good stuff. Right.
Have you watched anything else this week?
I have watched an excellent movie. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Oh, I'm kind of upset that I haven't watched it again, but I'm
Have you seen it before?
Yeah, I've seen it. It's excellent, dude.
Excellent, dude. Be excellent to each other. Yeah, I watched it this morning because obviously the new one's coming out. So I need to watch Bogus, whatever it's called, the second one before the third one. But yeah, it's really fucking fun. I had a blast of it. Because I kind of going in, I was like, I love Keanu Reeves. I've not really seen Alex Winter in much before, but it's kind of like a cheesy teen 80s movie, and it was exactly what I wanted it to be, and it was just cool. Like, it was like so many different cool varied locations. The dialogue was really funny, quite like weird because like they say quite intelligent things in like a really sort of dorky "yo bro" way. I can't remember like many of the lines, but yeah, it's really, really fun. Keanu Reeves just is this classic. I mean, I didn't realize he did this like since like he was so young, but he does a kind of like larger than life, like with his hands, like bro, whoa, and he does that in like modern films nowadays. So
in John Wick cool all the time.
Yeah, dude. But no, it was really fun. Loads of different cool characters from history all coming together in this time traveling phone box, which is quite clearly a take on Doctor Who. But yeah,
someone described this once as Doctor Who, but they're both companions, which I kind of like.
And there's no Doctor. Yeah, no, it's just really fun. There's not really much to say about the film, really. It's just kind of like a goofy film that you can chuck on. And I guess when they first made it, they didn't expect there to be sequels to it. It kind of felt like, oh, this film was quite successful, let's make a sequel. And then this is another film which we've done quite a few in the past now, but like sequels that come years later. The new one's coming out, late September?
I'm hearing actually surprisingly a lot of good things about this.
So am I, yeah.
So I'm excited very excited for that.
Yeah, but it's an excellent film. Would recommend it.
Bogus.
Excellent.
I have one film I watched in the cinema because I'm near the cinema now, and that's very exciting to me. Yes. I went to see Babyteeth. You
did?
Quite a big recommend from me. I actually need to stop saying big recommend.
Big recommend.
Big recommend. I really enjoyed it. The cast are all really, really talented. The story is not one I thought I would enjoy. It's about a 16-year-old girl who bumps into a 23-year-old drug dealing, looks like he's probably got some SoundCloud rap albums, sort of tattoos all over him. And they form this sort of relationship where she is very kind of in love with him and he's quite emotionally distant.
It felt like love then, basically.
But she is dying with cancer. And so their lives kind of become more enwrapped and the parents end up like supporting it, trying to do whatever they can to have their daughter be happy in it. And it was with the parents, the characters that I was really blown away. They were really brilliantly well written, interesting to watch characters. Ben Mendelsohn,
he just kills it at everything, right?
Oh, so good.
This is one of the reasons I wanted to watch this film, just because of Ben Mendelsohn alone.
I will come again if you would like to see it.
Yeah.
Soundtrack's really, really good. And there's moments where I really noticed the lighting. Just added like a dream-like moments to lots of scenes. Really beautiful coloured lighting. Yeah. Really good film. My eyes.
I'm hearing good stuff about it.
I think it's one that will slip under some radars. So if you have the time, go and check out Babyteeth.
Okay, no, but I will. No, I will actually. I was sort of wanting to watch it, but yeah, no. Now you said it's good, I'm 100% there. Let's do it.
Are we out of films to talk about?
I feel like we're out of films, but I still have things to talk about, just not movies.
Well, I have a sadder subject that I think we need to bring up.
Oh, okay, go on then.
We found out just before we recorded last week, but I don't think either of us were really ready to talk about it.
No, it was not an appropriate time, especially just rushing at the end of the show as well.
I mean, I don't know if you saw some articles that immediately started reporting it in the worst ways on the day.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have done a hit piece, but no. Chadwick Boseman, brilliant actor.
Yeah.
Best known for Black Panther, but in many other films, sadly passed away last week.
Yeah. There's not really anything to say that hasn't already been said. It's kind of quite shocking. It came as a shock to everyone in the industry, really. I think he only told his closest friends and family. But yeah, it's kind of, it's weird because he's one of the actors where I was literally talking about him like 2 weeks before it happened, and someone in my team where I work hadn't seen Black Panther. I was like, you need to see Black Panther. It's like one of the best Marvel films, if not the best one going. And like half the credit I feel like goes to Chadwick Boseman's performance, but also everything he did around that film and what he did for the Black community, and sort of representing the first correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he's the first Black superhero in big blockbuster films.
You could argue Blade, but
you could argue Blade, yeah.
But what he did is so important and so inspiring to so many kids.
Yeah.
See, so many people who hadn't been represented. It's a really difficult time for those people to lose him. And I think it shows us lots of things. I saw an article or something written by Clark Peters, who was an actor in Da 5 Bloods.
Yeah.
And a while back, his wife asked him.
Oh, he was so good in that. I forgot about that film.
His wife asked him, "What do you think of Chadwick Boseman? Is he nice?" And Clark Peters said, "Oh, I think he's a bit. He sees himself as a bit, special because on set he always had two people massaging him, and his girlfriend was always holding his hand."
Yeah.
And I could understand in the Hollywood community of you see someone getting massage loads and you see them being treated like that, and you go, "Oh, aren't they a bit lovely? Don't they think they're the whole world?"
Yeah.
But it really and this is what Clark Peters was owning up to, and quite amazingly admitting to, is that you don't know everyone's story. And clearly the fact that he was making these films, the fact he was still going, and the fact he was visiting kids and inspiring them who had cancer.
That great photo that came out of just the biggest grin on his face and the biggest grin on this little girl's face as well, and like I think it was a St. Jude's Hospital, wasn't it? But it was just like, it just goes, it's like a testament to his character. And just, he seemed like a proper stand-up dude. And obviously, like, we don't know him. But we just see what saw on the news. But like everything that you read about him, I don't think I've seen a single negative article about him recently that's come out. But yeah, he just seems like a cool dude, and it's just a massive loss for the industry, really.
If you would like to see some of his intellect and his really just a way of words that he had, I would hugely recommend searching Mayo and Kermo Chadwick Boseman interview, because he was interviewed about the film he was in. I think it was 27 Bridges, and also he ended up being asked about who's the guy who did The Irishman, the Scorsese saying things about superhero films, and the way he handled that question, the beauty and grace that he talked about that.
Yeah,
it was, as they said, as the main comment said later, that it was like the first soliloquy they got as an answer.
Yeah,
it's just such an intelligent man. I don't know him, but he seemed to have so much to give, and it felt like we'd only just got a chance to spend some time with him.
Because he was he was 43, but like he's come on to I think he's been acting for a while, but he's only come onto the scene recently because of Marvel, and I think that's really that helped heighten his career to like exponential levels. And you've seen him in 21 Bridges. I still haven't seen that movie. But in Defy Bloods, he's fantastic, and it does make me want to go back for his back catalogue. I know he's pretty good. Like, he's meant to be really good as Jackie Robinson in 42. There's Get On It, Get On Up.
Yeah, Get On It. Jackie Robinson's with the big two. I was thinking, have to be seen.
But no, just a massive loss, and I think we can't really say anything that's not already been said. But obviously, we were deeply saddened by the news, and I think it's going to sort of change the industry quite significantly. Really, like the impact he's left on it. So just really sad news. I don't want to dwell on it too much because it's already been said, but I don't really know where we go from here.
Yeah, no, just like really just leave everyone on a just huge bummer note.
Yeah, no, let's talk about TV. Have you seen anything on TV this week that's interested you, piqued your interest?
I think you know what we're going to talk about now.
Yeah, that's what I'm leading up to.
I recommended it to you and I now haven't watched as many episodes of you.
There's also episode 4 out now.
Jesus, I'm going to have to binge.
Which I need to watch, yeah.
Lovecraft Country.
Yeah.
It's good.
It is really good.
It's telling the story, the weird creatures of Lovecraftian horror, but acknowledging the racism that Lovecraft had and telling it through the lens of 60s America.
Yeah. It's really like, I didn't know what it was going to be going into it. And without spoiling really, without trying to spoil too much, it goes places you do not think it's going to go, and it really sort of just embraces the whole Lovecraftian horror elements that I didn't think it would do. I thought it was kind of like quite an interesting story about racism in the Deep South in the early 20th century. And there are some really poignant scenes and quite scenes that are quite hard to watch. I think in the first episode, is it the one, is it the Sundown Town? Sundown County.
And I hadn't previously known about sundown towns.
No, neither had I.
So it really hurt.
Yeah.
And you're getting dramatic and monster-based TV, but you're also getting facts about history that
it's really clever. And like even the whole scene leading up to it, they have like hints of the racism that's going on in this town. And later on, it makes so much more sense. But like when he walks in, he sees like there's no one in there, and obviously everyone leaves the cafe when they walk in, and it's like there's a little bit of unease there, and he just tears back. And they were talking about what a building that burnt down previously, weren't they? And it's just really clever. I don't want to say too much about because I don't want to spoil it, but definitely worth watching. It's on Now TV. You can catch it. Yeah. It's HBO Max in America. But yeah, really cool TV show. 100% worth watching. It's based on a book as well. Didn't realize.
Also, next week I'll probably be talking about The Boys 2, which has just come out, and so I'll probably be dipping in there. I don't think you've done The Boys.
I need to finish season 1. I started it.
And then
I really liked it. I got to the episode with Laser Eye Baby. So I think I got a
good episode.
Yeah, I got pretty far in, so I'm just gonna probably dive back into finish a couple episodes. But yeah, that was a really cool show. I'm trying to think of what else I've watched.
I feel like that's probably everything.
That is
everything I've ever watched.
Oh, I started playing a game which I told you briefly about yesterday, which is called Tell Me Why, which is not the Backstreet Boys.
Tell me why.
But that song's in my head the entire time I play it. But basically, this tells a story of these two siblings who, when they were about 10 years old, their mother went insane and tried to kill them, so they ended up turning against their mother and not murdering, but in self-defense killing their mum. And then one goes to juvie, gets separated, and during his time at juvie, he goes for his transition from a woman to a man. And then we see them regroup 10 years later outside of juvie. This guy was obviously previously a woman, but now transitioned to a man. So it's about the relationship going back to his hometown, quite a sleepy town, not very forward-thinking, not progressive. Going back there, trying to discover why their mum sort of turned on them and went insane and tried to kill them, whilst also dealing with the issues of people walking up to him and going, "Oh, you look like a real man." And there's quite a touching scene where he just turns around and goes, "I am a man." And it's like, I'm not a real looking man. I am a man. I'm just a man. And he's like, "You know what I mean?" And it's kind of like the things that people shrug off there's it's quite interesting to try and see these characters come to terms with and trying to learn how to live with this trans man who they haven't had any experience with before. But it's done really well. I've not completed it yet. I completed the first episode. It's like 3 episodes of the story, but it's also kind of like a supernatural thing going on as well, where they have this link because they're siblings. They can like recall memories in the past, and it's you trying to sort of work out what's going on in their past, which is like why the mum turned on them, because you're meant to believe that the mum didn't accept the son, didn't accept Tyler for who he was, and didn't want him to transition, but actually it goes different places you don't really think it will. But it's cool. I'd recommend it. It's on Xbox Game Pass, so you can play it on PC. But yeah, it's really cool. 100% recommend. I will let you know if I complete it next week.
Well, since I feel like you're always going to do a game, and I don't always play games, I'm just going to briefly talk about the play I've started reading.
Go for it. It's
called Kanye the First by Sam Steiner. I don't know how much I should spoil, but there's a woman who's like having complications in her life. She has to look after her mum. She's got a interesting relationship with her sister.
Yeah.
Kanye West dies during one of these conversations. They're just like on the phone. Right. And then I think like the next day she wakes up and she looks exactly like Kanye West.
What? What? This sounds so weird.
I assume performatively she would be looking like herself, and all other performers see her as Kanye West.
Yeah.
And so very interested to see where that goes.
Okay.
I've enjoyed what Sam Steiner has written before, and it's a good play.
No, that does sound interesting. I might have to borrow that after you've completed it, because that sounds. I've never read like a play script before. I just sort of either see them in theatre, or I see them on TV or whatever. But I've never actually read a script. Is it like quite a hard thing to do? Do you have to really sort of work at it to be able to get the story, or is it just
this one's I'm struggling with, because he at the beginning puts some like grammar things that like little marks that he's going to use to show like when people are talking over each other and things like that, because it is kind of one of those scripts that's quite like fast and bits come in in places that you can't write that way on a piece of paper,
like trying to read Uncut Gems but is in a script. It would be like a complete nightmare.
So like that's maybe it's not the easiest play to read, but plays are quite readable, and also you get through them pretty quick.
Okay, nice. No, good recommend. We've been through so much this week, I've forgotten what we've even recommended at this point. But
watch New Mutants in the cinema.
Yes, you can probably skip Mulan if you're not fussed about that.
If you need something to watch at home, watch Downton United or watch Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always.
Yep,
I think that might have been right.
Bill and Ted.
Watch Bill and Ted.
Yeah, because it's fun, and the new one's coming out.
Play your game.
Play Tell Me Why.
Tell Me Why. And read Kanye the First.
Yes. And then you'll probably be sorted. That's probably going to be you done until next week. So we'll catch you then.
Remember to eat, drink water.
Yeah, that as well. Maintain yourself. Be healthy.
Keep it groovy.
Bye!